If you're running a business, it's likely you're gathering information about your customers, suppliers, and other contacts. Names, contact details, possibly gender and birthdays, and perhaps credit card or account numbers. This is all classified as personal information, and there are legislative requirements for the way you collect, use, store, and disclose it. Data compliance ensures that your business and its systems meet legal and operational requirements relating to the information you hold. It encompasses privacy, integrity, availability, and preventing misuse of data. Non-compliance can result in legal penalties, fines, and other financial losses, as well as damage to your business reputation and loss of customer trust. Plus, if you're not compliant with your data, it could be linked to issues with your cybersecurity that could expose you to other risks and consequences. So it really pays to get to grips with the issue. The key legislation governing collection, use, and disclosure of personal information in New Zealand is the Privacy Act 2020. There are also some codes of practice for specific industry areas. They are consistent with the Privacy Act, but if you're in the business of credit reporting, health services, telecommunications, civil defense, justice or superannuation, or if you subcontract to these sectors, you should still be familiar with the relevant code. You can find more information about the Privacy Act and the codes of practice at privacy.org.nz. The website uses clear, plain language, so it's easy to understand your obligations. Around the world, regions, countries, and in the US, even individual states have their own data compliance legislation. Most is like our Privacy Act, but some is more rigorous, and some, like the European Union's GDPR, governs personal data whether the business is in their geographical area or not. If you are running an e-commerce venture through an established platform like Amazon or Shopify, you can expect this to be taken into account. But if you run your own web store and deliberately target international customers, say by offering content in their language and pricing in their currency, you need to make sure you are compliant. This could involve covering it in your online privacy statement, ensuring customers actively opt in to giving you their information, and more. The Privacy Commission's website has a privacy statement generator which could help, but seek advice if you are at all unsure. If your business processes online transactions, you also need to comply with the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, or PCI DSS. If you use a service provided by another party to do this, they need to be compliant too. Once you're familiar with your legislative requirements, your next step will be to review the information you hold, process, and store, a data audit. Think about the reason why you're collecting data and whether you're collecting more than you need. The more data you collect, the greater your risk. Cross-check your processes and systems against legislative requirements on privacy.org.nz to see if you have any non-compliant areas and figure out how these should be addressed. It could be a matter of changing policies, guidelines, and procedures, making technology improvements, doing some staff communication and training, or a combination of these things. It could also involve liaising with other businesses that you share your data with. How do they protect the data you send them? Say you run a small healthcare clinic. You'd be subject to the Privacy Act 2020 and the Health Information Privacy Code 2020. You conduct an audit examining how you handle patient data in relation to the Act and Code requirements. Through the audit, you identify that your compliance could be improved by encrypting patient records, establishing different levels of access to patient information for admin and medical staff, and improving the security of your server and backup system. You see that some staff training could help, particularly on phishing and social engineering attacks, which trick people into clicking links or revealing information. Handling of patient information and telephone calls is another area you decide the team could improve on with training. You also decide to collaborate with other clinics in your area to share cybersecurity news and best practice tips. As well as data compliance, you may also hear about data standards. These are the guidelines for the format in which information should be collected. They primarily apply to government departments to allow information to be shared or collated easily. For example, to help the Department of Statistics report on national trends. However, as use of artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things becomes more prevalent, so will the use of data standards. Data compliance is a whole team effort. It's not just about having the right tech, and it's not just your IT team's job. So get everyone on board to get smarter with your data.